Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Plays. Wow, another good day for murder. Hi, how you doing? It is another great day here in the world of blade and sorcery. We're in the sanctuary, and I got something amazing to talk to you about today. Oh my gosh. You ever hold someone's hair back while they're throwing up? Was that person ever a 90s TV star? Well, it was for me. And we'll talk about that in today's episode. Anyway, I hope you're doing well wherever you are today, whether it is day or night. Doesn't matter to me as long as you're here hanging out. That's what I'm here for. So we are in survival mode here in Blade and Sorcery. 3 weapons come out. I kill everything that comes out to greet me and, rinse, repeat. So let's get things going. I think javelin, nah. Pickaxe, nah. We'll go with the rusty blade. I always like to start with something rusty. So let's get things kicked off with our first traditional slow motion kill of the day. We'll see who the victim's gonna be. Should it be you? Should it be you, fair maiden? Let's take care of that right here. Oh, perfect. Yes. And now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about today's topic. So, I'm related to someone who has some pretty big ties in the entertainment industry. And although I have not spoken to this family member in something like 23, 24 years or something like that, he's pretty deep in Hollywood. Let me just put it that way. I've discussed him in a couple of other videos when I've had to give some context of why I've had so many close ties to Hollywood and close, bump-ins with a lot of different people. I don't want to name drop, but, let's just say Forrest Gump, I've hung out with him. I've gone ahead and hung out with people like Michael Douglas and stuff like that. Anyway, so what I want to tell you about today is a premiere party that I went to in the 90s, and it went unusually. Let's put it that way. So this party was okay. So I went to a lot of premiere parties when I was growing up, a little younger, like 20 some odd years ago. Well, a little bit more than that, like 26, 27 years ago, something along those lines. And so I used to go to these premiere parties. If you don't know what a premiere party is, on the night when a movie opens, the production company that made the movie will have the premiere. You get all the people, the red carpet, that whole thing down at Man's Chinese Theater once in a while. Oh, that's great. two pointy things. Okay. So they'll have a party afterwards. The production company will put on a party at some location that's, relatively close normally to where the movie premiered. And so they'll have them at different cool locations around, if it's a Hollywood premiere, they'll have it at some cool location near it. And it's basically they theme it usually around something for the movie. So I'm not going to give examples. It'll be too many things that are not vague. I like to keep things vague. So I got to go to these parties quite a bit, once every year or so. And what? She got hit in the arm. Okay. Anyway, whatever. So I got to go to these once in a while, and they're always, really interesting. Drinks and food and celebrity, hanging out with people oh my God, John McEnroe. I won't tell you how the interesting story connected to him, but let's just say someone that is related to him is a hell of a messy eater. Anyway, so there'll be food and drinks, and often there'll be swag from the movie. So promotional bags or coats or hats or whatever, right? Okay. Did I mention there's drinks? Anyway, that comes important in a minute. So I got invited to this premiere party. And it's an open bar, right? At these things, obviously, it's an open bar. And all the stars of the movie are there and everything like that. Anyway. So, I'm at this party. This is in the 90s. And back in the 1900s. And so I went to this premiere party for a movie, and I'll give you some details. It was an Adam Sandler movie. We had some interesting. Adam was a friend of the family, basically. It's not like I could call him up and be like, Adam, or anything like that, but. You know, there were certain members of my family that were really good friends with him, including my grandma. That was a sweet little thing going on. And so we got invited to this premiere party for an Adam Sandler movie. And so in Hollywood, like I said, I told you they put these premiere parties at really interesting locations. Well, this one was at an airport, a smaller airport in the LA area. I'm not going to say which one. I mean, it wouldn't matter if I did, but anyway. Well, you know what? I'll say it. It was at the Santa Monica Airport. I think that's what it's called. It's like a private airport, for people that have private planes, stuff like that, Hollywood celebrities and rich people and all that stuff. And so, it's an interesting place to have a party, right? Because you've got this weird thing going on, this weird duality that's going on. So you got it's in a hangar, right? And so the whole hangar is decorated out with, furniture and bars and places to get something to eat and, places to grab swag and all that stuff. And so there I am. I'm at this party, and the duality was that there's all these people all swanky, they're all dressed up and everything. There's good food from somewhere amazing in town, and all this kind of hobnobbing going on. There's producers and everything. I'll get to all that in a sec. Anyway, so you got all these people dressed all nice and swanky and everything, and then 10 feet away there's a jet, and just sitting there, you're smelling jet fuel and all that stuff the whole time. So, your martini has a little taste of the old high test in it, stuff like that. And so it's just this really odd place. And I got invited, and so I'm like, what the hell? Well, my date for that night, this is a weird one. My date for that night was someone that I dated earlier in my life, around the high school years. I can't tell you who it is. I know, I'm sorry, I can't name drop on these things that are more personal, because it helps people find me, and I don't want that to happen. So I was dating this girl. Earlier, I bumped it back into her before I went to this premiere party, and I saw that she was going to it too. So it's like, you want to go together? Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay. This is the sister of a music person that is pretty famous. This is the sister of him, and anyway. So I went with her, and we went to the thing. We drove, to the limo to it and everything. And we get out of the limo, and it was just it's surreal, because it's like all these people, for all these people, this is something that they just do 2-3 times a week, and sometimes, they just go to events and everything, and it's just them hanging out and partying and everything. We go in there, and immediately my date, she's like, oh, I see this producer I'm doing another thing with. Okay, I'll be back in a little while. She, wanders off. I never saw her again that night. I saw her the next day, and I was like, what happened? She goes, oh, I got caught up in some conversations and everything. So I'm like, okay, cool. So let me paint the picture for you. We had gotten there about an hour into the premiere party. And that meant people were already nice and greased up, as it is, they were quite lubed up with the old party lubricant, if you know what I'm saying. And so it's stuff like, over on one side you got some washed up B-list celebrity who got invited to it, and he's drunk as hell, and he's pitching his next idea to a potted plant. Because he's so messed up. You've got some producer over here trying to yak in the ear of some famous actor or something that's just had an Oscar nomination, and he's desperately trying to get this guy to let him be the producer of his next movie. It's so pathetic to see some of these people, because that there's back deals, and Hollywood's kind of dirty, and there's the casting couch and shit. But when you see all this stuff happening live in front of you, it is so surreal to see all of it. So again, you know, you're at this place that's just, it's out of place for everybody because you're at this airport hangar. It's dressed up to look nice, which is kind of like, it's kind of like, you know, when Harry Potter went into the, that tent at the Quidditch match, that World Quidditch match, and it's like all dressed up inside the tent and everything. Well, I mean, it's still got that same vibe, you know, like it's an airport hangar. You can't dress it up anywhere past a certain point, right? So all this weird stuff going on. I went and got myself a drink. I, you know, was just kind of wandering around, and I decided to sit down to grab something to eat, and, you know, almost like what you'd call a tapas bar. I don't know if that's a term in the rest of the world, like the United States. For us, tapas here in the Southwest is just, you know, nibbles. It's hors d'oeuvres, but a little bit more substantial. It's hors d'oeuvres than you could eat as a meal. Anyway, so I grabbed something to eat. You know, it's like a little buffet thing, and shrimp and all this stuff. I'm grabbing a shrimp cocktail, you know. And I go over and I sit down, and so the way that these seating areas were, there's a real analog in here. The seating area was interesting because it was like little, ooh, what is going on there? Little circles of like bench chairs, right? Black leather bench chairs. And there's just people, you know, sitting there chatting, drinking expensive drinks and stuff. And I look over, and sitting there with her parents and her boyfriend at the time is, okay, I gotta be delicate here. I gotta be really delicate, because if I say her name, things might get weird. How do I put this? A blonde 90s TV show star who cast spells. I don't have the heart to tell you who this is. Hint, hint. I don't have the heart to tell you who this is. Blonde, witchy lady from the 90s. And right now you're probably like, okay, I know who you're talking about. Yes. Her. She's sitting there with her parents. And this was the first time that I saw her that night. I saw her 3 times. Okay? Number 1 was she's sitting there with her parents and her boyfriend, and she's got, she's got a drink, and her parents have drinks, and she's hanging out, and I introduced myself. I'm like, hey, you know, I'm Orpheus. I'm here at the party. I got invited by someone that was involved with the production staff. Oh my God, it was so hilarious the whole night when people are, I'm like, hey, hi, I'm Orpheus. Good to meet you. And I wasn't going around getting autographs or anything. You don't do that stuff at these parties, right? It's just considered rude. So I'm like, hey, you know, I'm Orpheus. Good to meet you. And they're like, oh yeah, good to meet you. I'm whoever. And they're like, so what do you do? And I'm like, you know, nothing to do with Hollywood, that's for sure. And so there I am. The first time that I see her, she's sitting there with her family and her boyfriend and sipping some drinks and having fun. And hey, I'm Orpheus. Hey, I'm the 90s dishy blonde spellcaster lady. And you know, it's good to be here. Good to meet you. Is it okay if I sit here and kind of enjoy things? Oh yeah, absolutely. So at the time, about 15, 20 minutes goes by, I'm snacking. We're chatting a little bit, right? I go to get a drink and have a smoke. There was a no smoking thing in the hangar. I smoked cigarettes at that point. Don't smoke cigarettes, it's bad for you, people. So I went out for a smoke, and I went out for a drink. And that took me about 5-10 minutes. I'm sitting there sipping my drink, looking at, people watching, because it's always fascinating to see this stuff. Like when Hollywood people, or when anyone that's normally kind of businessy and maybe a little bit weird, when they party, it's so strange to see, like, people that you've seen in movies and TV and stuff, just see them absolutely shit-faced. It's amazing. Anyway, so I walk back inside. It's been 25 minutes at this point total. And this is the second time I saw her. She's sitting there on that bench. She's got a martini, and she's kind of sloshing it around. When you're talking, you're gesturing to somebody while you're drunk, and you have a drink. You know how you spill it at people? Well, that's what she's doing. and she's like just lightly talking to her, but it's just great. You know, like, I have another project coming up. It's gonna be real, you know, that kind of thing. And suddenly she spills all of her drink. Because she's wildly gesturing with this thing. And, like, little bits are spilling out here and there. Well, finally caught up to her. She notices. She's like, there's no drink in here, right? So she tosses the glass, like, literally from a couple of feet away. She tosses the martini glass to her boyfriend and says, go get me another drink. I'm like, ooh, this is gonna get juicy, right? And the boyfriend looks so defeated. Because, I mean, I didn't know who he was. He was just some person, you know, like me. He was just some schlub, right? And so he goes, like, walking off towards the bar with his head hung low. So, there she is, you know, drunk off her butt already, really bad. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna see you guys later, because the tension was rising. Like, her parents started to look embarrassed because she was starting to get loud, you know, when drunks get loud. And they start getting a little rude and demanding. Well, she was starting to get a little rude and demanding, and it was obvious that she was sloshed, man. So I'm like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna walk around the party, kind of mingle with people and stuff like that. I hadn't seen people in my family for the entire night so far, and I was gonna go and look for my date, you know. And so I kind of wander off. Well, another half an hour later, I gotta go to the bathroom. And so for these events, especially somewhere that's like this airport, they have to bring in porta potties for it. Well, if you've ever seen those executive porta potties, it's usually a trailer that has a men's and a women's bathroom in it, and it's really fancy. Like, on the inside, it looks like a really expensive hotel bathroom. And so there she is, outside the bathroom. I go to the bathroom. I'm standing near it. I see her on the corner of the bathroom, and she's on her knees, and she's just like, I don't know if she was casting spells or what she was summoning a demon, if anything, if she was casting a spell, because it was just right. And she happens to stop mid-yak, right? And she looks over at me, and she's like, oh, hey. I'm like, how you doing? You know, I'm not doing great. She's like, can I ask you a favor? I'm like, yeah, anything. You need some water for you or something? Maybe a towel or something? She's like, no. Can you hold my hair for me? And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess, yeah. So she's like, just you grab my hair. So I'm like gathering up her hair and holding on, and she's like, thanks, and just continues to projectile vomit. Nice. For like another 30 seconds. And so I'm just, you know, I'm trying to be like a gentleman, so I'm not like looking at her. I'm just kind of looking off here and stuff. I'll occasionally like look down, someone will walk by, just kind of do that nod at him like, hey bro, you know, gotta do the thing. Because I'm guessing people thought that I was like her boyfriend, just like embarrassingly holding her. She yaks, you know. So I'm just kind of doing that, you know, that nod you give people when you're just like acknowledging them, you know. Like usually it's when there's something bad going on. You're like, how you doing? You know. So she finishes, right? At least I thought she did, you know. She was done with demonic spells, you know, at that point. So she's like, oh, hey, thanks so much for that. I just drank a little too much tonight. I'm like, yeah, that's no problem. Hey, you know, feel better, you know. And it's great meeting you. I like your work so far. I'm trying to make like awkward small talk because it's like I have just shared something intimate with this person. I mean, I guess it's intimate, right? Someone holds your hair while you're throwing up. So there I am. I'm just kind of wandering around the party again. And, you know, if I could have guessed, right, if there was a bingo card and on that bingo card was unusual stuff that could happen at a Hollywood party, holding the hair of a TV star while he puked was not on my bingo card, you know? Anyway, so there it was. I went through the party, and it was an interesting experience. There was me. Got away with a little bit of famous puke on my shoes. So that's another story from the old Orpheus archive. Gosh, I can't believe I told you guys that. And anyway, that's my little blurb for today when I helped save a 90s TV star from certain doom. Anyway, we'll see you next time here on Orpheus Plays. Boy, this is a fun one for me, remembering all of this. Be good, do good, and treat yourself well, because you know what? You absolutely deserve it. And we'll see you next time here on Orpheus Plays. Bye!